Hot off the heels of Call of Duty 2, the Infinity Ward team has been developing Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. We're making a more sophisticated, deeper Call of Duty experience. Variety is the next big thing for us. We're going deep and we're going hard.
The weak man may be careful not to soil himself when he plays this game.
For the past few console generations, it seems that one first-person shooter franchise has captured the love and adoration of fans, and almost single-handedly been responsible for the success of the console it debuts on. GoldenEye sent Nintendo 64s flying off of store shelves. Without Halo, the Xbox would have been another dismal attempt at entering the console market for a major company. And now in this current generation, we have Call of Duty. By the numbers at least, it's hard to argue that Call of Duty isn't this generation's most popular first-person shooter franchise. Starting out as a PC-based historical World War II shooter in a time when World War II shooters were a dime a dozen, Call of Duty needed to shake up its formula after the third entry in the franchise, and the fourth would go on to heavily influence the future of first-person shooters. That said, there have been many popular trends that have ultimately proved themselves to be major missteps. Popularity is not the measure of good taste, as evidenced by things like emo haircuts, men in skinny jeans, and those horrendous false eyelashes that women feel the need to wear all of the damn time now. So will Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare be a game worth pulling out and going back to in 10 years? Or will it evaporate into the footnotes of gaming history? Taking place in 2011, Call of Duty 4 introduces us to Khaled al-Assad, a military leader in the small, unnamed Middle Eastern country who stages a coup d'etat, seizing control over the country's government. Meanwhile, a tanker carrying nukes sinks despite the efforts of British SAS forces to locate and secure them. Of course, while all this is going on, an ultranationalist group is waging civil war in Russia. Like its predecessors, Call of Duty 4 places you in the shoes of multiple characters. Most of the game is spent alternating between SAS member Soap McTavish and a member of the US Marine Corps, Sergeant Paul Jackson. Soap conducts most of his business in Russia and tackles ultranationalist leader Imran Zakhaev, while Jackson is deployed in the Middle East to contain the situation with al-Assad. The story is little more than a xenophobic neocon's wet dream. Given the fact that it takes some inspiration from real-world events, it's a shame that the geopolitical history and culture of the area is not touched on. Instead, Modern Warfare paints its antagonists as angry-faced, power-hungry anti-Westerners with nothing but contempt and hatred for capitalism and democracy, while its protagonists are hardened military superheroes on the side of justice and nobility. The narrative is constructed by briefings between missions that lead into the events at hand. Small story scenes occasionally occur during missions to add to the events, but the narrative mostly takes a back seat to mission set pieces. As a result, pacing is non-existent. Modern Warfare is a 5-hour sprint from where the story starts to its silly, rushed conclusion. The gunplay is commendable, with a large collection of weapons and intuitive controls. Many materials can be shot through, which means that enemies that fail to find adequate cover sign their own death certificates. While the mechanics are solid, missions are undermined by an over-reliance on scripting. After a few missions, it becomes apparent that you are playing the most sophisticated version of Whack-A-Mole ever devised. Enemies flood the battlefield in a seemingly endless stream while you push back until reaching a checkpoint. Your foreign foes follow the same pattern of rush in, hide behind a doorway or low barrier, and take shots at you or your squad mates until one of your bullets manages to blend their brain into gray slush. The scripting ensures that everything is properly orchestrated and timed. You could die 100 times and enemies would still emerge from the same places and behave the same way every time. This design drastically reduces replayability, as well as making the systems at play painfully apparent. All games employ smoke and mirrors to cover up the program logic that makes up their worlds. The best games have you thinking less about what's going on behind the scenes, while the worst ones might as well be an open text file with their code on your screen. Modern Warfare's commitment to scripts results in a tightly controlled gameplay affair that is easily exploitable and ultimately unfulfilling as a result of the semi-transparent gameplay curtain draped over its underpinnings. While on the whole, Modern Warfare's campaign may not be one of the most enthralling on the market, it is not without some standout missions. All Gillied Up and One Shot, One Kill are excellent and actually benefit from being tightly scripted. All Gillied Up is a flashback to a previous attempt to take down Zakhaev and is less about gunning down hundreds of armed Russians, and more of a game of follow the leader. It's a fast-paced affair that doesn't make the mistake of trying to implement half-baked stealth mechanics and instead requires you to cooperate with your AI partner to progress. One Shot, One Kill finishes up where All Gillied Up concludes and involves some interesting interaction with your AI partner. Modern Warfare also does a nice job in general of mixing up and adding different elements to the campaign in order to keep things from getting stale. It is kind of unusual, however, for a 5-hour game to require an on-rails shooting sequence from a jeep, calling out targets from an AC-130 gunship, manning the machine gun of a helicopter, using a Javelin missile system to take out a few tanks, and calling in airstrikes to alleviate repetition. The real draw for Call of Duty 4 is its oft-imitated multiplayer. As far as modes are concerned, Modern Warfare is one of the least creative games on the market, offering a standard suite of modes. Deathmatch, Capture the Point, and Free-for-all variants are all present and accounted for. Where Call of Duty is emulated is through its ranking system. As you level, you earn new weapons, attachments, and perks. Challenges are also available to provide bonus experience upon completion, and to incentivize changing your default playstyle. This system does a tremendous job of dangling a carrot in front of its players. All of the depth and fulfillment to be found in Modern Warfare's multiplayer game is the result of this system. The only other unique feature in Call of Duty's multiplayer feature set are kill streaks. These bonuses are designed to reward skilled play by giving players access to additional tools by racking up kills without dying. UAVs, airstrikes, attack choppers, and recon are all at your disposal if you manage to frag enough people without eating a hollow point sandwich yourself. The problem with this system is that it makes balanced matchups much more difficult to find. Two players that are doing well on a single team can deploy killstreak awards that shift the match in their favor, despite the other team being consistently more skilled. It doesn't make sense to further reward people that are already dominant. Also, obnoxious behavior such as camping and nade spamming is encouraged as a result of smaller, confined map sizes and the sweet payoff of terrorizing the other team with killstreaks. Call of Duty 4's accessibility, breakneck pace, and rewarding multiplayer rank system have given it tremendous appeal to both hardcore and casual gamers. The rewards and incentives of multiplayer's ranking system divert attention from its otherwise standard fare offerings. Its million thrills a second single-player experience pushes the average player's attention away from its reliance on scripting, and by relegating its narrative to briefings and short cutscenes during mission, it ensures that its lack of depth is inconsequential. For more discerning players, Call of Duty will come across as entertainment for the ADD. While there is no one perfect package on the market right now for those looking for both an incredible campaign and multiplayer suite, more balanced and compelling experiences can be found elsewhere. In the end, one of the most successful shooters of the past decade is more about spectacle than substance. Like most immensely popular first-person shooters, it is likely that nostalgia will preserve Call of Duty 4 in the collective consciousness of this generation's gamers as the best of the best.